So let's talk about the case for Lisk, or maybe to phrase it a little bit different, why Lisk? Why do we exist? What are we doing? What's our purpose in this world? And for that, I would like to show you a few logos of companies and ask you, what do these companies have in common? Meta, which recently rebranded from Facebook, Alphabet, or you might know it as Google, Microsoft, Apple. What are they all doing right now? Well, some of you might guess it. Exactly. They are focusing on the metaverse. They build or invest in AR, augmented reality, VR, virtual reality, MR, mixed reality, or XR, extended reality. They're building hardware, they're developing software, and they're really betting big on it. And if I would have to explain what the metaverse is, then I would say, well, we are living in a real physical world. And the metaverse is a digital layer you can put on top of it, which augments it in order to create somewhat of a new digital reality. That's at least my definition. We will see later a few other definitions of the metaverse. But it somewhat means that the metaverse is somehow becoming this new reality. And I think there's nothing bigger than that. There's nothing bigger than, well, the reality is there. And it will be massive. It will be everywhere, I think. So let's take a look at an official definition from, well, our most trustworthy resource, Wikipedia. So the metaverse is, to just repeat the definition here, an iteration of the internet supporting persistent online virtual environments through conventional personal computing, as well as virtual and augmented reality headsets. The later part you see, while these big companies are focusing also on the hardware part of it, like Meta with Oculus, or Google putting huge investments into Magic Leap. But I would like to focus on the first part, on the iteration of the internet, on the what comes after the internet. What's the next step for us in this world? And for that, I would like to first take a look at the evolution of the internet with the Web 1.0, or the World Wide Web. Back in time before I was born. It was mainly there to view information online, to access information in a more efficient and faster way. And it took quite a long time to, well, discover the next step, to build the technologies to enable that, to allow social interactions on the internet, which we called Web 2.0. And nowadays, everyone is talking about the Web 3.0, or how most actually call it, the Web 3. And what's that about? What are we all, well, at least at Lisk, working on to make reality? I think the Web 3 is really about ownership. The ability to own digital things and to transfer them to someone else. And, well, what can you own? You can own objects, money, everything what has a value. And, well, you're probably all familiar with blockchain, so that probably rings a bell. Exactly, the Web 3 is being built with blockchain technology. And it's already happening today. Like, there are many, many use cases out there which you could contribute or delegate to being Web 3 applications. And for that, first, because I don't know how much you know about blockchain, I would like to show you a video we made actually for the Lisk Center Berlin, a common space for all Liskers and blockchain enthusiasts here in Berlin to meet and to discuss blockchain technology together with, which we're representing in the hallway there. So I hope next year we will open up that Lisk Center Berlin and you will have like your own experience of the space. But that's why there's no voice layover. It's all text only. You don't have to hear me talking again in the video. So let's play the video, and then we're all on a common denominator, what blockchain actually is. that's what a blockchain is. And you might notice simple terminology in between. We kept out many details. We're really trying to speak to people who are not that technical with this video to really get a first understanding what a blockchain is. And with Lisk, you can build your own blockchain. And there are three main attributes of a blockchain. It's decentralized, it's trustless, and it's transparent. There are probably a few more, but I think it's a very good start to educate more people about blockchain. Let's take a look at the definition again. So it says it's an iteration of the internet. I just showed you how the internet evolved with these buzzwords, World Wide Web, Web 2.0, Web 3. And, well, looking at that, the metaverse is an iteration of that and will form this new reality. I was thinking, okay, maybe I'm a bit crazy. Should I maybe look out for other people, what they have to say? And I picked my favorite modern philosopher, Naval, and he says essentially that blockchains are the governments of the metaverse. And, well, governments, what are they doing? They're making decisions, they're defining the law, they're making money happen, essentially. So I think blockchains are kind of the decision and the value layer of the metaverse. And it seems like all these big companies are going all in. And it seems like blockchains actually play a significant role in making this metaverse future a reality. And, well, that's kind of the case for blockchain, why a blockchain actually makes sense to build or to exist in the first place. But what role does Lisk play now in this whole scheme? And where do we take it from there? For that, well, first of all, you probably heard it already, we need to make it possible for developers to actually develop blockchain applications. Because if they can't develop anything, then it will never become a reality. So that's where the Lisk SDK comes into play, which enables developers to develop blockchain applications simple and fast, in my opinion, simpler and faster than anywhere else. And giving them total freedom and unlimited power. It's extremely flexible. You can do whatever you want with it. And it comes in a very popular programming language, which some people might think, okay, why we picked that? But according to us, it's really like making a difference, and we see this every day in the community, that people really want to use our tools because we're using JavaScript. And, well, that's what we're focusing on with the Lisk SDK. But only developing it is not the only solution to the problem. We also need to be able to provide users a platform where they can use it, where they can use these blockchain applications developed with the Lisk SDK. And we're doing this because we really wanted people to start benefiting from this technology. So that's where the Lisk platform comes into play, a place where you can really use blockchain applications developed with the Lisk SDK. So that leads me to our first reason to exist, how I call it. Lisk enables everyone to develop or use blockchain applications. That's our main thing, essentially. But now I would like to take a look at another definition of the metaverse, which this time comes from a blockchain perspective from CoinDesk. And they say the metaverse is a massively scaled and interoperable network of virtual worlds which can be experienced by an effectively unlimited number of users and with continuity of data, such as identity, history, entitlements, objects, and payments. The later part somehow really refers to blockchain, like identity could be a blockchain address. History is the actual blockchain ledger. Entitlements could be ownership on a blockchain, objects, NFTs, and payments token. But I would also like to put a focus on the beginning, a massively scaled network. But herein lies a problem. Existing blockchain applications cannot massively scale today. And why is that? Because today's standard to develop blockchain applications is with smart contracts. where the blockchain applications functionalities are developed in those smart contracts, and they're deployed on top or within an existing blockchain. Let's say, for example, in Ethereum. And there's this theory by Union Square Ventures of a thin application and a fat protocol layer, which attracted quite a bit of attention in the last few years. And well, that essentially means that you have one fat protocol, in this case, let's say the Ethereum blockchain, and many, many applications built on top of that, which also have to run on that blockchain. And in my opinion, many blockchain applications on one blockchain is not scalable. It's just not working. And that's where I think in the future, the standard to develop blockchain applications has to change towards something I call a protocol native solution. We're still trying to figure out how to call that. But essentially where blockchain applications functionalities are developed within the protocol itself of a new blockchain. Exactly what happens with Lisk and the Lisk SDK. So that you have many distinct blockchains, and on each runs one blockchain application. So one blockchain application on one blockchain. And I think this is scalable. To make our second reason to exist, well, it is that Lisk solves kind of the scalability problem of blockchain applications. Let's go back to the definition, because it also states that a metaverse is essentially also an interoperable network. We heard that term already today. Miguel mentioned it once, and I think I probably said it a few times in the video. But what is interoperable? What means interoperability? It essentially means that, let's say in terms of networks, they can communicate with each other or exchange information. In case of interoperable blockchains, it means that, for example, you could transfer a token from one blockchain to the other. And well, the definition here, according to CoinDesk, says the metaverse will be interoperable. But well, herein lies another problem. Existing blockchain applications are not interoperable. We just are at the beginning of this whole thing. But they are not interoperable because they never had to be. Because if we are looking at the current standard with smart contracts, they were all developed on the same network, on the same blockchain, on one single blockchain. And that's where they don't need to have interoperable networks, because like I said, it's on the same network. But in my opinion, that's really not the way to go. That's not how we can achieve scalability. So that's where we have this other form which I talked about, this protocol native, how we called it, method. And here we really have different blockchains. We have really different networks. And this means this method here requires to provide interoperability between all these networks. Because, like I said, it's really necessary to split it, to divide and conquer the traffic in order to reach scalability. And why do you want them to be connected? Well, I think blockchain applications have many symbiotic relationships. You could have, for example, a gaming blockchain where you have a token which you want to exchange for another token. So the decentralized exchange on which this can happen is actually on another blockchain, but you need them to communicate with each other. So you can send the one token to the from this one blockchain to the other blockchain. So interoperability is extremely important for these symbiotic relationships. And we see that with the composability of blockchains, it can become really powerful what is actually possible with these blockchain applications in the future, thanks to interoperability then. And that's why we're putting such a big focus on that. And this year in May, we published the entire research of us about the Lisk interoperability solution on the Lisk.js 2021 event. And well, we were really, really proud of what was achieved there. We really like what we came up with in order to solve this problem. And well, it's in development right now and will peak with the platform launch next year. But more about that later from Shu and Manu, our heads of development. But essentially then the Lisk platform will have the Lisk blockchain at its centerpiece and many blockchain applications around it. And just to introduce some technical terminology here. So if we're speaking about the Lisk blockchain, we really mean or we can call it also a Lisk main chain. And all these blockchain applications, because they are native on their own blockchain, we call them side chains because they are on the side. It's like a side blockchain. Just that you heard these words because they come up later again. But that's not where it stops, because Miguel mentioned already about our competitors that, well, the end goal is actually to be connected to everything, to be interoperable to all kinds of blockchain application or smart contract platforms. And that's where we are currently researching blockchain interoperability, a solution which really connects us to any other blockchain application platform. And, well, it's in research right now, and you will hear more about that later from Jan, our head of research, and of course, next year. And that's how it would then look like. The Lisk platform essentially in the middle with the Lisk blockchain or main chain and the many side chains around that. And then connected to various ecosystems, for example, Ethereum, Cosmos, and so on. Here, these are just candidates. We are in the middle of the research. We have to see what is actually feasible, but also what makes sense from a business perspective to connect to first. However, to make another big statement and to give you the third reason to exist, it's that Lisk solves the interoperability problem of blockchain applications. Something where I said we have to solve it because in order to solve the scalability problem, we have to divide the transaction load onto many different blockchains. So what is the case for Lisk? Well, Lisk enables developers to develop and users to use scalable and interoperable blockchain applications. That's our whole thing. And for that, I would really like to show you a 2-year-old video from the Lisk relaunch event. And it's quite epic, so enjoy.
Have you ever realized how little we actually know? Think about it. Every day, we buy products without really knowing how they're produced. We have the most advanced justice system in human history, but still face fraud and corruption. Medical discoveries happen every day, but in a serious emergency, our medical records are still hard to access. Smart homes are on the horizon, but can we really trust them? In this age of information, we have sacrificed our privacy. We have no clue what is happening with our personal data.
This is where we are today, but progress is already happening in the form of a technology with revolutionary potential, Lisk's blockchain technology.
Imagine applications that tackle our society's challenges piece by piece. When you buy something, you know exactly where it came from, what it contains, and how it got to you. You will be able to make emerging technology trustworthy. We could reduce corruption by bringing transparency into our world. When you need it most, you will be able to share your medical records in an instant, safely and securely. And finally, you become the one and only owner of your personal data. To accelerate this innovation, we created Lisk, a blockchain application platform that enables you to easily create and distribute your own blockchain applications. Access the power of blockchain. Lisk.
That was the video. I think still stands today. And everything we're working on is governed by the Lisk Foundation we established in 2016. And why is that? Because, of course, everything we're doing has to be done with regulation and transparency in mind. And that's why we established this non-profit entity based in Switzerland. And the Lisk Foundation is supporting developers from our community to build blockchain applications on the Lisk platform. We have the Lisk grant program with a total of $1.3 million in grants for these developers from our community to build blockchain applications with the Lisk SDK. And I would like to mention 4 very interesting ones, of which some of them also are here today and will enter the stage, so it will get quite busy. There's Calipo, there is Duido, Nefti, and Collecti. Calipo is a decentralized autonomous organization. Duido is an education platform, and Collecti and Nefti are doing something with NFTs.